I would never do a land play ever, especially in self-storages. I was actually looking at getting self-storages probably 2008, 2009, 2010, right around there. And I met somebody and he actually developed one in Colorado in 5 years, dealing with the state and the city. And literally his hair turned gray. Like literally, it was like dark black like mine. And by the time he was done, he sold it to some other developer that actually developed the self-storages because he did a land play, his hair turned gray. So no, I would actually just buy mobile home parks. They cash flow from day one. And why would I actually develop something and wait that year to go through that much stress versus I can actually just buy something and cash flow 60 days from now?
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Walter Johnson with Sonos Capital, is in the mobile home park investing space. He's based out of the Phoenix, Arizona area. Walter, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's going to be a great show.
I always like to start off at the top of these shows by asking guests, how they got into the real estate space.
Yeah. I mean, I got into it. I tried to, it's a pretty bit of odd story. Actually, I got into it because I wanted to play professional basketball, which is weird, right? That's not weird, but I wanted to play professional basketball to make enough money to buy real estate. So it was never about professional basketball. It was a means to it was a vehicle, means to an end.
Wow. So where were you looking at playing ball in? Were you looking at getting to, NBA overseas?
Yeah.
Where were you looking at?
So I was actually looking at playing here in, so I was walking for Sacramento Kings. And then I think when I was 29 years old, I was trying out for BJL, which is a league in Japan. None of them worked out, but I want to make enough money to buy apartments, like these huge apartments complexes and real estate. So I guess sports was never my it wasn't the destination. It was actually the journey. But here I am buying real estate. So I think
I want to get a little granular on this because I haven't had a guest who's walked through this path like you have.
Yeah, 100%.
Because
Yeah, let's do a segue.
Yeah, I've had professional athletes on the show. I've actually had NBA players on the show, past generations, 80s and 90s. And they were walking me through, transitioning from being a professional athlete to then what do I do next? And that's where real estate came into play. You had the opposite approach. Hey, I'm going to get into this real estate game, and this is going to be the vehicle. Where did you get that drive to go pursue real estate?
Where did I get it? I think I was just growing up, and a lot of people, around me, like maybe a neighbor's, husband or something like that. I was like, hey, he made it in real estate or something like that. And he had a cool car. Maybe it was a Corvette, or he had a motorcycle or something that was flashy. As a kid, you're like, I want to do that. Right. And so growing up to that, looking up to maybe it was a neighbor's, husband or something like that. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So I never thought about, kind of sports as like a career. I just want to be like my neighbors because he had a cool motorcycle or something like that, right? And so that's kind of how.
That was the waypoint.
Yeah,
Walk me
exactly.
through
It just clicked.
it sounds like coming up, was it G League? Were you walking on the Sacramento Kings you mentioned? I know nothing about this world. How does one walk on?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Oh, well, back in those days, I mean, I think it was easier than what it was today, right? So I think that, growing up in Sacramento, living in Sacramento, I had a coach, and the coach was like, "Hey, I think, you have the gift of this." And Bobby Hurley actually played for the Kings at the time, and he was actually my neighbor. So that's kind of how it worked out.
Wow, the world is a small place. Talk about a connection that gets you places. That point in time, are you looking at real estate deals in your mind's eye? Are you thinking, okay, I'm going to have single family, multifamily, duplexes, triplexes,
No,
apartments?
I had no idea. No, I had no idea what I was going to do in real estate. I had no idea about real estate. I just wanted to be in real estate.
And so I mean, you mentioned playing overseas or looking at playing overseas. When did you start to look at, hey, this is going to be, the ways that I get more involved into the real estate game?
Well, yeah. So overseas was probably like 29, 30 years old, but I was buying property when I was like 22. So I bought my first property. That's a property when I was 22 when I moved to Arizona. That's when we were talking, you and I think it was maybe a off camera. And I was like, Arizona's a gold mine in more ways than one. So I came out here to visit my cousin. He got a job at Intel. And I started seeing how real estate was so cheap in Arizona. I mean, it was dirt cheap compared to, let's say, California,
Yeah.
anywhere else at that matter, right? So you could buy a brand new house for like 100 grand, a totally brand new house from like reputable builders. And I was like, this is cheap, right? And then you're like, hey, I can rent this house out and the payment's $800, but I can rent it out for 1,200. In a sense, it looks like you're going to make $400 a month. You really don't, single family houses, but on paper it looks like that. So you're like, wow, this is actually cheap. And so I took that plunge and moved to Arizona.
So you were in the single family space at that point in time. Uh, was there a specific reason where you said, hey, I'm going to go single family versus small multifamily or even larger multifamily? Was it
Yeah,
something about the single family space?
no, no, no. I think this is actually really good for your readers. So I was 22 and I was good at math. I was always good at math, but I didn't actually understand apartment building math, like cap rates and vacancies and how to calculate NOI. Like that was really foreign to me, right? I actually had to learn that. I had to learn that it took me a couple years to actually learn it. But single family homes was just easy. You have rent, you have your expenses, and then you have your mortgage payment. Like it's really simple math.
So I'm
So
imagining, because you're, professional athlete and obviously you
I
can't do it
tried.
all.
I was an athlete, not professional, right? So
Okay. Okay. So walk me through that transition there. So 22 years old, you are full time at real estate at that point in time.
yeah, I was a mortgage broker. So I got into mortgage broker, and I got into it September 11th. 2001, actually September 11th, 2001. And then, so I was a mortgage broker and cut my teeth in that, learned a lot. And then I think a year later, I bought my first investment property.
So when people are coming into the real estate and I'm a newly licensed realtor, I got licensed earlier this year. I'd prior to that been working with distressed sellers and fix and flippers and folks who are looking maybe for Airbnbs in the Dallas and San Antonio markets of Texas. I almost feel like I hate to say this, I almost feel like I got in on the wrong side of real estate because the lending portion of it is where everything, begins and ends. If someone comes to me, I'm going to say, where's your, pre-approval letter, or what sorts of funding do you have? So you got in on the mortgage side. Was that very strategic on your part?
Yep. So I worked at a company, I think like in like the 2000, maybe 2000 before I moved to Arizona. It was called GM Mortgages. And I seen these guys. It was different at the time. They actually had suits and they had like the, cell phones and they had the, convertible Mercedes. I mean, like they were doing that. I was like, oh, I want to be like them. It was almost like seeing people work on Wall Street. But when you go into the mortgages versus real estate, mortgages actually, you learn way more about investment properties, about numbers, about how it's underwritten. It gets underwritten, how processing works, how funding works, how title companies work. It's really the nuts and bolts of finance, right? Of real
Right.
estate financing. So if somebody actually says, "Hey, I actually want to learn about how this really works," I would get into mortgages versus being a real estate agent. Real estate agent compared to mortgages, dude, you can't compare. You can't
I
compare.
tend to
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
agree. And yeah, I'm a realtor, so here we go, kind of in that duality. But I know, today you're heavily focused in the mobile home park space, totally different from the single family game.
Mhm.
And walk me through that, because I also know there's a lot of interest right now in mobile home parks from lots of different segments in real estate, not just from folks who have that background in mobile home.
Okay, so and let's kind of add on or what you said. So one of my clients when I was actually a mortgage broker was in mobile home, the industry. So he's had what's called park models. So he would buy a park model, let's say in Arizona. So he'd buy it for 15 grand and then sell it for, 50 grand in California. So he did that multiple times a year. That's actually one of the ways that he made his money. And so since I was in mortgages, I did a few of his mortgages, refinances, et cetera. So I did a great job and he taught me about mobile home parks. So in a sense, when you're on the mortgage side versus the real estate side, I think it's more personal because you see, in your industry, you don't see their social security numbers, you don't see how much money they have, you don't see their assets, you don't see none of that stuff. You don't see divorce rate, like none of that. This side of when you're mortgages, it's more personal because you actually see that and you actually have different, I would say, in a sense, deeper conversations.
When you were looking at that first mobile home park deal,
Mhm.
walk me through how you came across that deal, negotiations, what that was like, what area of the country it was in.
It was in Arizona. Yeah. So my first one, I didn't actually pull a trigger. It was actually it's scary, right? It was like I think it was like 60 or 80 spaces, but 60 at 80 spaces times 2.5 people in a place. So you're dealing with a whole bunch of people, and you're like, how
Yeah.
do I manage this, right? So you know, I think I think it's one of those things to where you get gun shy. So you're like, that's a good deal, but deep inside, I maybe had self limitations, right? You're like, I don't want to do that. Maybe it's the next deal, right? And so you kind of build up the courage to actually really take down a property. So yeah, I did have that. Maybe some I was gun shy in my first few deals.
Walk me through that first deal, if you remember. When we talk about finding single family homes, for instance, you got a couple avenues where you can go to find single family on market, off market, probate reports, foreclosure, pre foreclosure. How does someone find, mobile home parks for sale? Is it Crexy? How are you finding these deals?
So what I did and what I would recommend, whether it's your listeners or somebody that's actually looking at this podcast, I would get a list from a title company. I wouldn't do Cruxy, I wouldn't do LoopNet, I wouldn't go to a broker because they're trying to get top dollar, right? Which is nothing wrong with that, but you're actually just paying retail. So who actually wants to buy a real estate deal and pay retail? Buy something and actually get a good deal. And so I would just get a list from a title company and just call or mail to park owners in your area, whether it's, I'm just going to say Ohio, right? The state of Ohio. Somebody lives in Ohio, just get a list from a title company saying, I want to get these park owners in my state and either call them or mail them.
I wasn't even aware that title companies had that, but that makes perfect sense, right? And when you're looking for a mobile home park, there's segments of this space. I think most of the time when mobile home parks differ from other segments because they're more affordable housing, but there's also mobile home parks where they own the home. There's mobile home parks where
Mhm.
they don't own the home, and then from what I understand as well, there's instances where they will even sell the land underneath versus rent. So it's almost like a development type deal, but
Mhm.
for mobile home. Which types of deals are you looking at, or have you looked at?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, what we usually do is we actually just buy a park that usually they come with some type of what's called park-owned homes to where the park actually owns the homes, and we usually just sell them or give them away depending on the condition. I don't want to be in the landlord business. I've been into that. I just don't want to fix roofs and toilets and drywall and cabinets. So, let the actual tenants,
Handle
fix
that
their own.
portion of it.
Yeah. Hmm.
When we're talking about, buying mobile home parks, I actually have not experience with a mobile home park, but with mobile home specifically, because I had a deal in South San Antonio area called Floresville, where it was super difficult to get financing for this deal. And I later learned that, basically anytime that there's an older, it wasn't even that old, but an older mobile home, that it is very quickly challenging to secure funding for this deal. So have you gone the route of creating a fund syndication? How have you been able to purchase mobile home parks?
So if they're difficult, usually, kind of the sellers know, in a sense. So you could probably do seller financing. Lenders still lend on parks, and you can actually have some attractive terms and rates and whatnot. But if it's too difficult, just have a seller carry the paper.
When we're talking about, them holding the note, I've noticed there's some specific risks that come in with mobile homes in general. Like for instance, these can be moved, right? So then, if something happens at that point in time, there's maybe a larger degree of risk. Is that a thing, or is that such a small percentage chance that it's probably not going to
Yeah,
happen?
it's a small. I mean, one that particular tenant actually has to find a mover that would move. So let's say I go to that setter, that company said, I want to move 10 houses. So 10 times 20, which is, let's say $200,000. Or you're going to take on this tenant that wants to move this house for $25,000 or 20 grand. And then they didn't build up a relationship with you, and they have to get the permits, and they actually have to. And so they're going to probably, in a sense, I mean, kind of life is not fair at times. They're going to take my business versus this one off. And so that's actually what happens. And plus, most people just aren't going to move. So I think the average tenant in a mobile home park stays for about 14 years. So they're not mobile. What I'm
Yeah,
saying.
they think that risk is probably overstated. That was the risk that was relayed to me from the folks that I was trying to connect investors with for lending on the deal.
Yeah,
I
and
want to.
then so sorry, let me interrupt. And then you actually have something. So it's called park rules and regulations, which is almost, if you ever bought something, let's say in an HOA or condominium, you have CCNRs. So in parks, it's something similar. So if you move that home or you sell it, I have the first right of refusal. So that's usually in the park rule. So you have that backstop, and then you have finding a setter, and they're super busy right now. So I think that's somebody moving their house out of your park is relatively rare.
I want to pivot a bit here, Walter, and ask you about some of the other what I would call, colloquially land plays that investors are looking at. You mentioned coming from a background mortgage, then we're looking at single family deals, got into mobile home investing, mobile park investing. I've seen investors in the single family space now look at getting land basically like shovel ready, selling it off to developers. I've seen them getting into mobile homes, RV parks, and then a big one right now also seems to be storage facilities.
Mhm.
All of these require like vacant land. So it's not like you can necessarily do this where I'm from in northern New Jersey originally, but is there one thing, or is it a multitude of factors that drew you to mobile home versus some of these other what I would call land plays?
Yeah, I would never do a land play ever, especially in self storages. I was actually looking at getting self storages probably 2008, 2009, 2010, right around there. And I met somebody, and he actually developed one in Colorado in 5 years, dealing with the state and the city. And literally, his hair turned gray. Like literally, it was like dark black like mine. And by the time he was done, he sold it to some other developer that actually developed the self storages because he did a land play. His hair turned gray. So no, I would actually just buy mobile home parks. They cash flow from day one. And why would I actually develop something and wait that year to go through that much stress versus I can actually just buy something and cash flow 60 days from now?
When we talk about the exit strategy for these deals, forgive me for being a little bit fish out of water in the mobile home park space. With you and your partners, are you looking at, a 5-year exit strategy? Are these longer term holds? What's and in general in the mobile home park space, is there kind of a cookie cutter approach to owning these deals?
So mine was, or our fund was 5 years, and we exit out in like 6 year, like the beginning of the 6 year or something like that, or the 7th year. But the overall consensus, I think we have 100 and something investors. They're saying, Walter, if these are cash flowing, they're not making any more mobile home parks. Like they're not getting redeveloped or anything like that. Why are we going to just sell them? Why don't we just keep them forever? So our next fund, we're just going to keep them forever. I don't think it makes sense. We talk about real estate and making money, but you do all this work and you away from your family, you sacrifice, you leave your home for the weekend, and then in 5 years you actually sell it. So you have to reinvent yourself in your business model, so to speak, right? Based,
Right.
how about you just keep it? So that's
The
that's where we're at.
I've never had an investor come on the show and say, "Man, I wish I hadn't sold," or excuse me, I wish that I had kept it. Meaning, like they're sorry for keeping something. I'm stumbling over my words here, but the biggest regret that everyone has is that they sold and that they shouldn't have. Especially, I think when we talk about affordable housing segment right now, mobile home parks, even folks who are like RVs, that type of thing, ADUs, alternative dwelling units. Uh, these are huge right now. Are you seeing interest, in the demographic shift potentially changing from who would traditionally you would think be in a mobile home park versus who may now be looking more into this space?
Oh, 100%. So mobile homes, mobile home parks. I actually got a buyer right now. I kid you not. She just got married. Promise you this. She just in Arizona. I believe so, right? Like you can get married at like 17 in Arizona with parents' permission. I didn't know that because she got married, and she's like she moved out of her parents' place. She got married, and she's like, I want to buy this mobile home in this mobile home park, like next door to her parents. So you're having a younger demographics, actually 17.
Getting more into the space. Long term for folks, you mentioned, this is a heavy cash flow asset. For folks who are looking at something that's going to be, lower maintenance, and I think especially when you're delegating, or I shouldn't say delegating, but when you're not, having to fix faucets and roofs and this type of thing, what is the types of issues that you'll face, when you own a mobile home park, but you're not, responsible for those faucets and roofs? What are the typical maintenance issues or tenant issues? And I'm probably using the wrong terminology here, but you can help guide me. What are the issues that folks face?
So I think so. Sometimes you actually face it with the city or the county, with the municipalities. I think one. I actually have a park in Colorado. We're dealing with a water issue. I got it late last night. I think like 9 o'clock. Or we have to do a water check, right? And so things of that nature, right? So they're probably not open right now. They're probably open in like a couple hours, but I have to call the city of, or state of Colorado and just figure it out. So little things like that. So instead of a toilet, maybe it's the county or the city. Those are more like conversations, and let's see how we can actually fix this versus fixing a roof or or a hot water heater.
Are they quick to respond to that type of thing? I'm thinking if it's a city issue, they should be out there like immediately.
Yep, yeah. So they're quicker, and I think I think the cities and states, they do a good job just making sure that everything stays between the white lines.
We are coming up on time here, Walter. Where can folks go if maybe they're interested in learning more about Sonos Capital? Maybe they have a deal they'd like you to take a look at. How can folks reach out to you?
Yeah, I do that all the time. I look at deals. I don't want people. W- kind of to add what you said is that people say like, "Hey, I wish never sold that '65 Mustang or like Volkswagen Bug," right? And people say that about real estate. So I want people to actually get into this business, and if they actually buy a mobile home park and they reach out saying, "I wish I would have kept this," or "I want to buy this and keep it for my family or for legacy." So yeah, feel free to actually reach out to me. So our website is sonoscapital.com, or call me in my office, 480-674-2035. And they're like, "Hey, I found this deal in Indiana. Is this a good deal? Yes or no?" And I would just give them my honest opinion, because I actually had mentors that I had to reach out to and get, and pick their brain as well. So I think there's a kind of a level of playing it forward.
Walter, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, have a good day.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.